I think, unfortunately, the pandemic has slightly slewed things, in as much as it's hard to spend as much time with the Queen than we would like to. We've been trying to, but of course it's still not that easy.
Whispers raced through Buckingham Palace long before the official announcement, but nothing could have truly prepared the royal household for what was coming. Prince William quietly greenlit a bold and completely unexpected change, one that reshapes the future of Duchess Sophie's children in ways few imagined. Courtiers describe the atmosphere as electrified, a collision of centuries-old protocols smashing head-first into a modern decisive move no one saw coming. While some insiders quietly celebrated the shift, others warned it could spark a ripple effect across the monarchy itself. What exactly drove William to approve this unprecedented title change? And why is the palace trembling today? For months, a quiet tension had been simmering behind the palace walls, but now it has erupted into something far bigger and more explosive than anyone predicted. A single, swift, and meticulously calculated move, loaded with meaning, has shaken Buckingham Palace to its core. Prince William, the future king, has authorised a title shift that many insiders never believed he would dare. But the shockwave isn't aimed at the usual headline-grabbing royals. Instead, it lands squarely on two figures who have long remained just steps outside the glaring spotlight: Lady Louise Windsor and her younger brother, James, Earl of Wessex. This wasn't a simple bureaucratic adjustment. It was a signal, a message, a deliberate move that quietly reveals the path William intends to take as he edges ever closer to the throne. For years, the royal family has walked a tightrope, balancing centuries of tradition while trying to keep pace with a world that refuses to accept outdated rules. Now, with King Charles III facing serious health struggles and the monarchy's public standing shifting like sand, William appears ready to rewrite the royal playbook. At the heart of this shift are two young royals who were never meant to be pulled into the centre of royal power, at least not this soon. Lady Louise, now 20, and James, just 16, grew up far from the flashing cameras. Their parents, Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, fought fiercely to protect their childhoods from the relentless pressures of royal life. They declined HRH titles at birth, giving their children something almost unheard of in the monarchy: a taste of normalcy. But that era of privacy now seems to be ending faster than anyone could have imagined. Buckingham Palace's recent announcement made one thing crystal clear: Louise and James are no longer just junior relatives, they are being recognised as essential gears in the royal machine. With the King's approval, Prince William formally recommended their greater involvement in royal duties. This move places them closer to the monarchy's centre than ever before. The statement may have been short, but the meaning is seismic. It marks a clear departure from King Charles's long-promised, slimmed-down vision of the monarchy. Royal watchers had assumed the future would focus only on the King, the Prince of Wales, and Prince George, but circumstances have changed. And William, known for being decisive, stepped in before cracks widened further. Insiders whisper that Charles's health struggles forced a quiet but urgent shift in responsibilities, with William taking on more engagements than ever before. Combine this with Harry and Meghan's exit, the ageing of senior royals, and growing public scrutiny, and suddenly the monarchy looks dangerously understaffed. Bringing Louise and James forward isn't just filling gaps, it hints at a new blueprint for the monarchy, one built on loyalty, steadiness, and the quiet dedication their parents have always shown. Yet not everyone is cheering. Some royal experts call it a smart, necessary move. Others warn it could open the door to even more dramatic title shifts in years to come. All debates, whispers, and theories lead to one burning question: why Sophie's children? And could this move reveal something far deeper than anyone expected? Stay tuned to uncover how Sophie's children became the future of William's inner circle. On the surface, Lady Louise and James may look calm, but inside the palace, this is one of the smartest and most strategic power plays William has made in years. While the public sees a simple family adjustment, royal insiders know this move carries immense significance. It shows how William is carefully shaping the monarchy he plans to lead one day, and why he is choosing Sophie's children to stand closer by his side. Over the years, the working royal team has shrunk, older generations stepping back, Harry and Meghan leaving, and Andrew's scandals obliterating any future for his branch of the family. William has been left with a thin support system. He cannot run the monarchy alone, and Catherine's health struggles have only added pressure. So he is choosing carefully, building a circle of people he trusts, respects, and can rely on in critical moments. That circle now quietly but firmly includes Lady Louise and her younger brother. Lady Louise has long impressed William with her calm demeanour, discipline, and strong sense of duty. She is one of the few young royals who spent time close to Queen Elizabeth II, learning directly from her and absorbing long hours of guidance at Balmoral. William knows the value of that wisdom. Louise is a living link to the Queen's insight, values, and understanding of what royal duty truly means. Bringing her closer isn't just a title adjustment, it is introducing the next generation of stability to the monarchy. James, though younger, represents something equally vital: loyalty. He has avoided drama and public conflicts, staying quiet, humble, and respectful, exactly the kind of character William wants at his side. The monarchy is fragile, the media is unpredictable. Scandals can erupt from nowhere. William sees Sophie's children as safe anchors, people he can trust without worrying about betrayal or chaos. This move also strengthens William politically within the royal family. By empowering Sophie's children, he sends a crystal-clear message to the remaining senior royals. The future team will be built on trust, not just position or legacy. This bold action automatically reduces Queen Camilla's influence, sidelines Prince Andrew's daughters, and signals that the younger generation will no longer be selected based on old traditions, but based on loyalty, dedication, and unwavering support for William's leadership. It's a subtle yet powerful realignment of royal power. At the same time, it strengthens Sophie's position as one of William's closest allies. Sophie has consistently supported William and Catherine, particularly through their most difficult months, standing firmly by their side when pressure was at its highest. William sees her not only as a senior royal, but as someone genuinely committed to preserving the monarchy's integrity and survival. Elevating her children demonstrates both gratitude and strategy, as well as long-term thinking that positions Sophie as a trusted pillar of his inner circle. On the surface, this title change may look polite and simple, but behind the scenes, William is quietly but methodically constructing the foundation of his future throne. The more you examine the move, the clearer it becomes. This is not just about Sophie's family. It's about preparing for a stormy future, a time when William will need to choose carefully who stands beside him and who remains at a safe distance. To fully understand the future, we must revisit the past. The Duke of Edinburgh's legacy has profoundly shaped the monarchy, and its echoes are still felt today. Stay tuned, because what he left behind may surprise you. The story of Lady Louise and James cannot be separated from the remarkable history of their father's title, the Duke of Edinburgh, one of the most distinguished and historically significant titles in the British royal family. This dukedom carries immense weight, tradition, and expectations stretching back decades to the era of Prince Philip. For over 70 years, Philip held the title with pride and unwavering purpose, leaving an indelible mark on the monarchy and the world. When Prince Philip married Princess Elizabeth in 1947, King George VI granted him the Dukedom of Edinburgh, honouring Philip's Greek and Danish royal heritage and setting the stage for a legacy built on service, dedication, and public responsibility. From that day forward, Philip's title became synonymous with youth development, education, and environmental advocacy. His most enduring achievement, the Duke of Edinburgh's award, has shaped millions of young lives around the globe, inspiring ambition, resilience, and service. Philip's legacy became a guiding force not only for the royal family but for generations worldwide, cementing the title's prestige and its association with leadership, mentorship, and dedication to the greater good. Philip's passing in April 2021 sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace and the wider royal community. The Dukedom of Edinburgh automatically passed to Charles, then Prince of Wales, marking the beginning of a complex succession moment. Yet when Charles ascended the throne in September 2022, the dukedom reverted to the crown, leaving its future uncertain and igniting speculation about who would next carry this historic and prestigious honour. Tradition had long indicated that Prince Edward, Philip's youngest son, would be the next rightful holder. Back in 1999, Buckingham Palace confirmed that both Philip and Queen Elizabeth wished for Edward to inherit the dukedom once it became available. But when Charles became king, he paused for 6 months, weighing his options carefully. Reports suggested he wanted to streamline the monarchy, keeping only the most senior royals in the spotlight, and he was initially reluctant to hand such a prestigious title to his younger brother. Royal watchers observed anxiously as months of speculation unfolded. Then, on March 10, 2023, King Charles III made a surprising and decisive move. He officially conferred the title upon Prince Edward, timing the announcement to coincide with Edward's 59th birthday. The decision was both a relief and a shock to royal observers. Buckingham Palace's statement read, "The King is pleased to confer the Dukedom of Edinburgh upon Prince Edward on the occasion of His Royal Highness's 59th birthday. This title will be held for His Royal Highness's lifetime." For Edward, it was a moment of quiet vindication. Decades of supporting his father's charitable endeavours and fulfilling a steady, loyal role within the family had not gone unnoticed. Yet the decision came with a twist that directly impacts the Wessex children. Unlike most hereditary dukedoms, this title will not automatically pass to James upon Edward's eventual passing. Instead, it reverts to the crown, allowing the king to potentially reassign it in the future, possibly even to Prince Louis, William and Catherine's youngest son. This carefully crafted decision keeps the honour closely aligned with the line of succession while placing James and Lady Louise in a unique position. They carry royal heritage and tradition, yet their future titles will follow a different, more strategic path. The Wessex children are heirs in their own right, but they now navigate a changing royal landscape where prestige, tradition, and strategic planning intersect in ways unprecedented for their generation. While attention has long focused on Prince Edward, the spotlight now shifts to James Alexander Philip Mountbatten Windsor, better known as James, Earl of Wessex, at just 16. He occupies a delicate position within the royal hierarchy, standing 16th in line to the throne as of 2024, a dramatic shift from the 8th spot he held at birth during Queen Elizabeth II's reign. His life is a study in contrasts, born into privilege, yet deliberately shielded from the intense glare that has defined so many of his cousins' childhoods. James entered the world on December 17, 2007, at Frimley Park Hospital, a location favoured for discretion and convenience near Bagshot Park. Unlike the highly publicised arrivals of other young royals, his birth was quietly celebrated, reflecting his parents' conscious choice to protect his privacy and shield him from public scrutiny. Technically, he was entitled to the style of Prince James under the 1917 letters patent, but Edward and Sophie chose the courtesy title Viscount Severn, honouring Sophie's Welsh heritage. It was a clear signal that James would grow up with freedom, shielded from the relentless attention that has overshadowed younger members of the royal family for generations. Throughout his early years, James lived far removed from media frenzy and public scrutiny. He attended Eagle House School in Berkshire, a distinguished preparatory school, before moving on to Radley College in Oxfordshire, one of England's most respected independent schools for boys. Education has always been a central priority for his parents, who remain committed to ensuring their children strike a balance between royal duty, personal growth, and the resilience needed to navigate a life in the monarchy under the public eye. Yet, even with this deliberate distance from the cameras, James has never been absent from public life entirely. His first notable appearance came in 2016, riding proudly in the carriage procession during Trooping the Colour, a moment that quietly announced his presence to the world. Over the years, he has attended key family milestones, from the historic 2022 Platinum Jubilee celebrating Queen Elizabeth II to King Charles III's coronation in 2023, each event subtly preparing him for the life he is destined to lead. Perhaps the most poignant public moment of his young life came in September 2022. Following Queen Elizabeth II's passing, James, then just 14, joined his sister Louise and 6 cousins in a silent, solemn vigil around their grandmother's coffin at Westminster Hall. This quiet, dignified act of devotion revealed a young man shaped by loyalty, respect, and an extraordinary sense of duty. qualities that reflect a maturity far beyond his years and a deep understanding of what it truly means to serve the monarchy without seeking public applause. Now, as James edges closer to adulthood, a pressing question arises. What role will he assume in the monarchy? His recent elevation to Earl of Wessex signals recognition of his place within the royal framework. Yet the option to adopt the HRH styling when he turns 18 in December 2025 remains entirely his decision. Observers note that James's calm, reserved demeanour mirrors his father's, suggesting he may favour a quieter, supportive role rather than the high-visibility duties of a full working royal. However, the landscape around him is shifting dramatically. The royal family faces rising demands, and Prince William is strategically bringing the younger generation into key roles in ways that could shape James's future choices. This evolving environment may influence whether James embraces a formal public position or continues along a path defined by discretion, subtle influence, and behind-the-scenes contribution. One thing is certain: the Earl of Wessex is quietly carving a space for himself within the monarchy, a space that balances tradition with individuality, duty with personal freedom, and history with a modern outlook. And while James's journey continues to unfold, the gaze of Buckingham Palace is beginning to shift toward another rising star, Lady Louise Windsor, a duchess in the making, a quiet force within the royal family whose emergence may reveal the hidden gems poised to redefine royal life. While James has been raised with quiet dignity, Louise has steadily developed into a presence that commands subtle attention, a young royal whose character and accomplishments hint at a far greater role than many anticipated. Born prematurely on November 8, 2003, Lady Louise Alice Elizabeth Mary Mountbatten Windsor entered the world under dramatic circumstances. Her mother, then Countess of Wessex, Sophie, experienced a sudden placental abruption, forcing an emergency caesarean at Frimley Park Hospital. Prince Edward, away on official duties, rushed home to be by his family's side, underscoring the close-knit nature of their household from the very beginning. Despite such a turbulent start, Louise grew up with calm composure and an air of grace, qualities that have come to define her character and endear her to royal watchers across the globe. What truly sets Louise apart is her humility and grounded nature. Unlike many of her cousins, she spent her formative years largely away from media attention, attending St. George's School in Windsor before moving on to St. Mary's School in Ascot, navigating her teenage years with remarkable poise. Among her most cherished connections was the bond she shared with her grandfather, Prince Philip. Of all his grandchildren, Louise shared the closest relationship with him, particularly over their mutual love of carriage driving, a sport Philip championed throughout his life. In a deeply sentimental gesture, she inherited his ponies and carriage, cementing a lasting connection that speaks volumes about family, legacy, and respect. Though Louise's public appearances were initially limited, they were always marked by elegance, composure, and understated dignity. From trooping the colour to the Platinum Jubilee celebrations and even during the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, she consistently demonstrated a quiet presence that captured the admiration of both the public and palace insiders. Perhaps the most poignant moment of her life came during the 15-minute vigil held for the Queen's lying in state, where Louise joined her brother James and royal cousins in a display of historical significance, intimacy, and profound symbolism, highlighting the deep respect and love the younger generation holds for their late grandmother. Beyond ceremonial duties, Louise has quietly built unique personal achievements. In 2022, she became the first royal to take on a summer job, working at a garden centre, a move that earned praise for its down-to-earth nature, independence, and grounding in real-world experience. That same year, she enrolled at the University of St. Andrews to study English, following a path that mirrors Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, a connection that has fascinated royal enthusiasts. Then, in 2024, she joined the University Officers Training Corps, signalling her interest in discipline, leadership, and perhaps a future military role, a path historically reserved for senior working royals under Prince William's guidance. With William's recent decision to elevate her profile, speculation is rife that Louise may one day hold a title of her own, perhaps even a duchesship. As the granddaughter of Queen Elizabeth II, she occupies a rare and strategically significant position within the monarchy, blending modernity with tradition and poised to become a key figure in the next generation of royal leadership. While James faces choices regarding his own royal status, Louise, now 18, can assert her rights and potentially embrace a role that merges independence, modern thinking, and royal responsibility. At the heart of both their journeys is the figure who quietly shaped so much of their upbringing, their mother, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Her influence may not make headlines, but it has been profoundly important. Sophie's journey within the royal family has been defined not by spectacle, but by steadfast perseverance, loyalty, and a reputation earned through quiet, consistent dedication. Since marrying Prince Edward in 1999, she has become one of the most trusted and respected members of the monarchy, with many insiders describing her as one of Queen Elizabeth II's closest confidants. During the latter years of the Queen's reign, Sophie's bond with her was more than ceremonial. They often spent afternoons together at Windsor Castle, sharing tea and thoughtful conversations about family, responsibilities, and the delicate balance needed to maintain the monarchy in a rapidly changing world. These private moments underscored the deep trust the late Queen placed in Sophie, particularly when advising on the younger generation of royals. Over the years, Sophie's unwavering commitment to charitable causes, diplomatic events, and royal duties earned admiration for work done without seeking the spotlight, a legacy of reliability, grace, and strategic influence that quietly shaped the monarchy's future and now echoes through the lives of her children. Yet despite her years of service and influence, there was one title she never held, one that could have completely altered her public standing. In a revelation that has fascinated royal watchers, it was disclosed that Prince Edward had originally been slated to become the Duke of Cambridge upon his marriage in 1999, a title that ultimately went to Prince William and Catherine. The Duke of Cambridge has long been one of the most prestigious and historically significant titles in the British aristocracy, carrying both high visibility and substantial responsibility. But Prince Edward's path took an unexpected turn, curiously inspired by a film. According to palace sources, Edward had been watching Shakespeare in Love, a movie that featured a character known as the Earl of Wessex, and was captivated by the sound of the title. Edward reportedly asked Queen Elizabeth II if he could adopt it. In a rare moment of indulgence, the Queen agreed, and Edward and Sophie became the Earl and Countess of Wessex. While the decision may have seemed trivial at the time, it ultimately shaped their trajectory within the royal family. By not becoming the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Edward and Sophie avoided the intense early scrutiny that often accompanies higher-profile titles, allowing them to build a steady, respected presence over the years. Decades later, their royal journey has come full circle. Edward and Sophie were recently elevated to Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, a title honouring Prince Philip's legacy and bringing with it renewed purpose, prestige, and recognition. This elevation is more than ceremonial. It signifies the family's acknowledgement of Sophie's decades-long dedication and Edward's careful, considered path through royal life. Together, they have navigated the complex pressures of public duty, private life, and family loyalty, shaping not only their own story, but also the environment in which James and Louise are now growing. And as the royal family looks toward the future, one question lingers. How will the Queen's legacy and carefully crafted inheritance continue to shape the monarchy? And whose choices will leave the most lasting mark? Let's delve into the details of how her will reshaped the royals. As Buckingham Palace adapts to the recent title changes approved by Prince William, another layer of royal transition remains cloaked in secrecy, the enduring legacy of Queen Elizabeth II. While much attention has focused on the younger generation stepping into public roles, the late Queen's passing marked a far deeper shift, one that touches inheritance, wealth, and the careful preservation of royal tradition. Her death didn't just close a chapter, it opened a delicate balancing act between honouring the past and preparing for the monarchy's future. Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch, held the crown for 70 years through wars, societal change, and shifting public attitudes toward royalty. She served as a steady anchor. With her passing, the monarchy found itself at a crossroads, navigating a world where tradition and modernity collide under King Charles III's reign. Amid state funerals, tributes, and global mourning, one question quietly dominated palace corridors. How would her will and personal fortune be managed? Unlike ordinary wills, a sovereign's testament is traditionally sealed, protecting both family privacy and the institution's stability. This practice dates back to 1911, when Prince Francis of Teck's will was concealed to prevent public scandal. Since then, over 30 royal wills, including that of Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, sealed for 90 years, have remained confidential. Queen Elizabeth II's will follows this same tradition, with no public disclosure of how her personal wealth, estates, or treasured heirlooms were distributed. Yet history and precedent provide clues about how her assets were likely managed. While the Crown estate, valued at roughly £16 billion, remains the monarchy's property, the Queen's personal fortune, estimated between £370 million and £500 million, was privately owned. Her estates, Sandringham and Balmoral, along with her historic jewellery collection, were expected to follow royal customs. But as King Charles III stepped into his role, it became clear that inheritance was not just about wealth, it was about safeguarding the monarchy's legacy. Every decision, from state allocations to title succession, reflects a broader vision for the royal family's stability and influence. Certain inheritances were immediate and undeniable. King Charles III automatically assumed control of the Duchy of Lancaster, valued at over £600 million, ensuring his financial independence as sovereign. Prince William, the new heir, inherited the Duchy of Cornwall, worth over £1 billion, forming the primary source of income for the Prince of Wales. Privately owned estates like Sandringham and Balmoral held both sentimental and historical significance. Reports suggest that Charles inherited both with plans, possibly passing Sandringham to William. While Balmoral remains a family retreat honouring Scotland's royal heritage, the Queen's personal jewellery collection, over 300 pieces, including tiaras, brooches and necklaces, was also distributed carefully. Queen Camilla reportedly received key pieces to maintain tradition, while Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Princess Charlotte inherited items of deep personal and historical value, ensuring the Queen's legacy remained within the direct line of succession. Even Prince Harry, despite stepping back from royal duties, may have received personal mementos. Though financial inheritances like the Duchy of Cornwall were reserved for those in active royal roles, the Queen's greatest gift was a legacy of duty, resilience, and continuity. As King Charles III reigns and Prince William prepares for his future role, these decisions ensure that the monarchy endures in a world increasingly questioning its relevance. Every title, estate, and heirloom was carefully orchestrated to preserve stability and shape public perception of the royal family. So, do you think royal titles still carry the same weight in today's world? Would you have made the same decisions as Prince William? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave your thoughts below.